gentlemen, and welcome to round 6 of the ARC GR3 Championship Series. My name is Lateral G, and I'm joined in the commentary booth by...
Myself, how are you doing there today, Lateral?
I'm doing quite good myself. I've had a few developments, I'll admit, coming into today's commentary. I have a completely new setup, so I'm going to apologize in advance if there's any audio hiccups here and there. I'm sure some of you might notice I sound a little bit different. That's because I'm using a different mic for today, but hopefully in the next round everything's all sorted out and everything should be fine. So just wanted to get that out of the way, but we should be on for some good action here around Brands Hatch today.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of history around here, in particular the Megane Trophy Cup, and we also raced here back in Season 1, which ended on a bit of, a massive incident. But yeah, I think with the way this racing has been going this season, I don't think this race will disappoint.
No, it shouldn't. And speaking of how close this championship is, I'm just going to pull up the current points right quick so everyone can see it. Let me just pull up my copy. And there you can see up in the Tier A points, Nugatti is still leading, but only by 32 points over Chile. Dan's 33 points behind Nugatti, and Kobu is 52 points behind Nugatti. You have the top 4 just within, or if you technically just outside of 50 points. It is getting super close to this championship, and we haven't had a championship this close since Season 1.
No, definitely not. You can also say the Stig, the Stig, even though he's had a couple of bad finishes as of late, he's less than 100 points back. If he can get a good result, and say the Nugatti, Chile, Dans would all struggle around here, then, Stig's put himself in the title mix and all.
And another thing to note is going into this race, there was another BOP update where I believe it was the Corvette got a bit of a buff. They increased or reduced the overall weight on their car, so it might actually get a bit of turn-in. The GTR got a bit of a change too, if I'm not mistaken, where it lost some horsepower and also lost some weight, so it might actually turn in a bit better. So it might be more competitive here around Brands Hatch for this race. So that's going to be something to keep in mind. Looking over at our Tier B points, Thomas TT still leading by a sizable margin over Knoxby, 110 points. With he's currently has 617. Funnily enough, if you look at his points, he technically has a higher points total than Kobu right now, his teammate, although he is in Tier B. We have Kujer up there in 3rd place for Tier B. And over in Tier C, Predje leading by 89 points over FTA, and Notorious DRE in 3rd with 186 points back behind Predje. Now we go over to our team standings here. I can get them right, make sure I have the right screen up. I do now, yes. Alright, so you can see Ice-T Racing still leading, or taking back the lead in the Constructors' Championship with 1,703 points. Only 9 points over Polestar Racing Team. And you can easily lose that difference, but the key here is that this is Brands Hatch. Then we have Spa, where we expect the GTR to be strong again, and then we have Cataluna, the last round of the championship. So it's going to be really close, and you're going to want to keep our eyes on that points difference between those two teams.
I've also got to keep track of the driver standings too, because there could be literally nose to tail coming into Catalunya for the final round. So, we can't call on who's going to be championship after Catalunya, but I think we need to get some proper maths in that to see who will be champion. But it's been absolutely one of the best seasons to commentate on and to watch too, isn't it?
That it definitely is. And looking over at our reserves points, you can see Alex Rogers currently leading for the reserves. He has been moved up to an individual driver. He's no longer a flat-out reserve driver, but he is still in the reserves standings. So you can see he's got 617 points. He's actually tied for points with Thomas TT from Lobby B, our Season 3 champion. There he is there. However, we're going to get underway for qualifying momentarily real soon, so I'm going to jump over to our lap guide while we wait for qualifying to get started.
The 6th round of this extraordinary season heads us back to Britain. Yes, after a 2-season absence, Brands Hatch is back on the calendar. Just less than 2.5 miles, only 9 corners around this track. Not a wide track, but there is some places that can catch you out very easy. It's very hilly. Downhill, you can go uphill. But all in all, it's a very fun circuit. So let's not waste any more time. Let's do a lap. So this is a lap around Brands Hatch with me, my Savoy, behind the wheel of the Porsche 911 as created by the legend that is Marcus Azai. Across the start-finish line we go to start the lap past the Brabham Straight and then towards Paddock Hill Bend, second gear, 95 miles an hour. Use over track there. Car can go on a little bit into the gravel. Uphill with hill. And now back to first for Druid to turn 2. Don't need to clip the curve what I did. You're probably a lot better driver than me. Now into a corner that has changed over the years. Graham Hill Bend, second gear, 85 miles an hour. Use over track on the exit, onto the Cooper Straight. And then for turn 4, Surtees, you want a wide entrance in for a better apex off the corner so you can get a good run onto the Pilgrim's Drop. And then we're going to meet the first of the penalty burns right here down Hawthorne Hill underneath the bridge. A real good place to overtake someone, get good speed, going in towards 10.5 down 1 gear for Hawthorne Bend, 3rd gear, 115 miles an hour. And then for Westfield, use all of the curb, maximum attack turn 6. Now we're going up towards Dingledale, and then it's one of the most important corners on the track, and one that we need to look out for, Sheed. It's a blind right-handed corner. And now into turn 8, Sterling, second gear, 80 odd miles an hour. Again, use all the curb. This is the second of 2 penalty burns here. And then getting ready for the last turn, clear race, turn 9, down 2 gears, 85 miles an hour. That's clear race. Now into the Clark curve. Use over track on the exit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lap around Brands Hatch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and qualifying is now underway. The drivers that completed their outlap currently only now just 2 minutes in, and Kober starting his very first flying lap, leading the pack the rest of the field here. As we see him now heads into turn 4, Surtees. Let's go on board with him. Let's see what that GTR can do. Actually, I just want to correct myself here because there's a few things we do have to mention. Let's see if I can find them here. Yeah, see, we have DRE Matty. One thing to note, he's no longer in that Toyota FT1, but he is actually in the Porsche 911, and that is because, unfortunately, the stewards have decided that due to the connection issues between Charles TT and Hideki Sama, both those drivers had to be removed from the championships due to their connections. So Matty has been promoted to an Apex Racing team and fill in for his role in the team. And then we have, if I'm not mistaken, it would be Alex Rogers, who has taken Hideki's spot in the individual spot. So he's still a reserve driver, he's not part of any team, but he's just an individual.
Looks like on your screen we've got a new boy there, a speed boy behind Matty.
Yeah, I just saw there was a yellow flag here. It was Kobu, so Kobu looks like Kobu spun there going through a Sheen curve. And then you see Law going very wide on his qualifying lap. Again, only 10 qualifying sessions here. So let's actually stay on board with Matty as he's coming into the lap here. Let's see what he can do in that Porsche. You're quite familiar with the Porsche yourself there, Savla.
Yes, the last time I raced that, I actually had a broken wrist, so it wasn't that really fun, and I was, racing around that track in this quite amount of pain. But yeah, I think the Porsches work well around here. It's not really a track that will favour the GTRs or the Citroens or the Chevrolets and that. So, we could see Porsche being up there battling for possibly a win for the race. And we've seen what Matty can do in previous races before. Already finished on the podium, and he's asserted himself into this championship very well.
That he is, and he is currently sitting second place overall, only roughly 400ths behind Chile. He's currently on pole position. So we're at 4 minutes into qualifying now for Lobby A. So how about we jump it over to you to give us an update on where everyone in Lobby B is?
Right, so we've got 6 minutes to go until the end of Lobby B. Thomas TT, championship leader in Lobby B, he is on the pole position. He is nearly half a second quicker. Oh, take it back now. Kuja's just gone into second place, but he is just about half a second away from Thomas's time. Then Darth Nair, who's in third, who is just about half a second back. Then you got Wiley Coyote in the Sandy Ball Chevrolet, and then Havoc, another Porsche driver, sitting in fifth place, just over a second slower. Just to mention there, no Haggis, he is not racing tonight. So I think in that lobby there's only 13 races in there. Knox Fee, I don't think he set a time just yet. No, he hasn't. So I think not a lot of people that have set times just yet. So Thomas, Kuja, Darth is your top 3.
All right. Well, currently it looks like Nugatti has taken pole position in the meantime here. Currently 2/10 with a 22.294 ahead of Chile. We still have DRE Matty in second place. We see Mini Conan and Technogun almost side by side there. Have to be careful not to impede Alex Rogers, who actually might be on a flying lap here. We have Dan's up into 4th place. And we have Stig actually up in 5th, which is actually a pretty solid result from the Corvette around here. Another driver we do have to point out here is a new driver to Tier A, which is Ingolfer. He's actually from Iceland. He actually hails usually from the PC side of things, a lot of iRacing, and of course, a Competizione. However, if I'm understood things correctly, his computer is not doing too hot right now, so he jumped over to Gran Turismo and happened to join us for a few rounds of championship. But from what I hear, he's got quite a bit of pace, so he might be one to watch out for here.
That's another person new to the championship from Iceland.
So I'm just looking at Alex Rogers here, who is actually on a flying lap. Right? You can see damage in the bottom left of the screen. He's got quite a bit of damage to that car, but we missed it there as we were covering the new driver to the championship. So I wonder what happened there. We did see him behind, I believe it was Mini Conan and Techno Guy on the start of that lap. So maybe a bit of a run in between those drivers there. Might be something to look at for the stewards. I do believe Alex, I'm not sure if he's actually happens to be streaming today, but he might have his end of the stream up soon. Might be able to watch it from Alex Rogers' point of view. However, looking back at the leaderboard currently, it's still Nugatti in pole position by 2/10 ahead of Chile in second, DRE Matty in third, who looks to be improving his time currently, Dans in fourth, Steg in fifth, Engel in sixth, Alex Rogers, who just made a pit stop at seventh, Mermaid in eighth, Mini Conan in ninth, Speedboy in 10th, ACZ Alex in 11th, Techno Guy in 12th, Law in 13th. He's not having the best time around here. Then Kobu still in currently last place, but he's going to have time to get one good flying lap in.
We're talking about Alex Rogers getting the damage, and I wonder if you'll have a chat after the Brands Hatch race, maybe you explain what happened in the qualifying with him.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing to see. He is usually one of the more vocal drivers when something happens to him on track, so I'm sure he'd be down to talk about it come to the post-race interviews if he happens to show up. So again, 2.5 minutes of qualifying left here to go, so it looks like Chile's going to get that one lap in, so will Mermaid. He's going to get a fresh set of soft tires. We're looking towards the back of the field. As we mentioned, Law and Kobu yet to really set a solid lap as Kobu's coming around here to start his flying lap. Law has been... he started, I was looking at the Discord chat quite a bit, and he said he was feeling quite comfortable around here, but here we see him behind Techno Guy, and Techno Guy, I don't want to undersell him in their skill at all, but he's usually a driver that in the past few races has qualified back in Lobby C. So, do you feel like maybe Law is struggling here, or is he just having a hard time with the traffic like we just saw him go back there on the, between turn 8 and turn 9?
I think it's to do something with like coming out in the bad part of the track if he was dealing with other drivers, because if he keeps it that if he stays where he is at now, that will be by far his worst qualifying. He's been very consistent actually in qualifying. Looking at the previous 4-5 rounds, he's had a 6th, a 4th, 2 7ths, and a 5th. So yeah, it's unusual to see Law down now. He could be under threat to actually not race in Lobby A, but he's got to pull in a lap time very soon, because it looks like on your screen there, it looks like there's like nearly a minute to go until the end of the session. So Law's got to do something, and he's got to do something right now.
So I have to agree with you there, and it's going to be the same with Kobu. He's currently on a flying lap, but it looks like he actually might be improving here. Got a bit of a slipstream, but looks like Mini Conan in front of him as he rounds the last part of the lap. Let's see what he can do and improve. It says his optimal right now is a 22.3. Mini Conan goes way off the track there. How will it improve Kobe? He's got the slipstream. Will he go faster? Looks like it's going to be a quick lap. He goes second in the GTR.
Oh, wow. And I just thought the GTR was going to be slow around here. Obviously not.
As we get the notification there for 1 minute. As we see Nugatti still in pole position, actually managed to improve his time to 22.188. Nugatti looking comfortable here, and he's going to have to be if he wants to hold that championship lead after this round. Actually, there we have it. Law is actually no, Alex Rogers goes pole position. So everyone's setting improved lap times here, but yeah, not to undersell Law as Alex Rogers goes pole. He actually managed to improve. So Law currently on a podium position. I think it would be his very first podium for a qualifying, if I'm not mistaken.
Who's that?
Law.
Law's best ever qualifying has been a 3rd back at the Nürburgring last season, so he will equal that.
Alright, so see if I can find this last driver coming up to the line here so we can know who's the first one to finish. It's going to be Chile. He's only going to go 4th, so he does improve, but he's just outside that top 3, so Chile's not getting another lap in. See everyone else crosses the line. Let's see if the leaderboard changes at all. Who's this next driver here? Let's see if we can find him. Ooh, there's Mermaid having a big off.
That's a pad to kill, wasn't it?
Oh, and there's Techno Guy. So Techno Guy's going to have a hard time improving this lap. He's got that half a second penalty. See who's behind him here. It looks to be Dan's. He's currently in 8th place. He's struggling, but he's got the slipstream of the car in front. How will it affect his lap time? Comes up to the line. He does not improve. Dan's does not improve from 8th in qualifying here at Brands Hatch.
Oh, someone just went career off there.
That's the other drivers. You see Speed Boy back in 12th, Lost still in 3rd. There's Alex Rogers coming up to the line. He won't improve, and back behind him was, let's see if I can find it. I'm not sure who it was. Oh, it was ACC Alex. So there you have it. Qualifying is over for Lobby A. Let me pull up the live timing here. So there you have it. Alex Rogers on pole with a 22 flat, which actually beats the current ARC track record that was set by G Thanks Obama in, I believe it was season 1, if I'm not mistaken.
It was season 1. Yeah. I think it's the only time we've raced at Brands in the GR3 was season 1.
We have Nugatti in second with a 22.1, Law 226 in third, Chile in fourth, Kobu in fifth, DRE Matty in sixth. So Matty actually improved pretty significantly. Inglefur with the 7th, Dan's in 8th, Stig in 9th, Mermaid 10th, ACZ Alex 11th, Mini Conan in 12th, Speedboy in 13th, and Techno Guy in 14th. So if Lobby A is over, I'm going to throw it over to you, so hopefully we can compare the Lobby A and Lobby B times. Yeah,
well, Lobby B has finished, so I will tell you the lap times now. Darth Nile, I don't know how you pronounce that second gamer tag name, but we'll just call him Darth. Darth took the pole position away from Thomas. He did a 1 minute 22.680. Then it is Thomas, who was about a quarter of a second, 2 tenths back off of Darth's pole position time, 1 minute 22.853. Then Knoxville in the Porsche 911, 1 minute 23.207. Kuja, who only just did 1 lap and then just pretty much stopped the whole entire qualifying, 1 minute 23.395 in his, I think it's Polestar Mercedes, if I'm correct, I might be wrong. Jerry Bear in 4th. With a 1 minute 23.740, he was 3 thousandths quicker than Defiant. Defiant actually quite high up there in his Citroen, so good effort there from Defiant and the Pleb Racing Citroen. Then you've got ARC Matty in the older spec AMG, 1 minute 23.833, so nearly a tenth off Defiant's time. Wiley Coyote, 1 minute 23.848, 15,000 slower than Matty's time. Then Havoc in the another Apex Racing Porsche, 1 minute 23.983. He was 9 thousandths quicker than Cro-Magna's AMG. Then you got 2 Chevrolet Corvettes in Thunderpig and MJ Walter. Both of them did a 124.057. Walter did a 124.156. And rounding out the grid for Mission 10 is Pierre, 1 minute 24.207.
I just happen to be looking here in the Discord, and it says Pim, and I don't think he's in Lobby B, but he's a driver I haven't seen since the Super Formula Championship, and so I believe he was ended up qualifying in Lobby C, but he says he did a 22.3, which is Tier A material currently.
Yeah, Pim, he was I think that's his debut, I believe, too, in this championship at all. So, I mean, if that's the case, if he did a 22.3, then that's the first Group C driver that's going to compete in the Tier A. And to my knowledge, that will be the 26th different driver that we'll have in Lobby A, which will beat Season 3 amount of drivers that was in Lobby A. So, good going there to Pim. Yeah, we did see him in the Super Formula Series, and then we didn't see him for a fair few bit, and then he's come back and he's obviously come back with a vengeance to maybe start in Lobby A.
That he has, and it should be actually a pretty interesting race towards the front of the field. I know last time we raced here back in Season 1, the end of the race was a bit of, if I remember right, some of the drivers in that race were a bit unhappy with the ending of that race, so we might see some fireworks here this time around. It's quite possible, especially if what we saw in qualifying in Lobby A, where we saw a lot of drivers trying to pass slower drivers who were on an outlap and whatnot. So we could see a bit of bumper cars around here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, but in regards to what was a finish, I think it's the only race that they've had a 1-2 finish with Dan's winning the race, and it was his teammate back then, was it Dark Reef Stark, I think it was, that came along and finished in second place. There was a bit of controversy at the end of the race. To my knowledge, that's the only 1-2. It could have happened as well last week with Thomas nearly getting second place away from Chile at the line, but that unfortunately wasn't the case. But I wonder what's gonna conjure up. You said Alex Rogers was on the pole position. I think, to mine, looking at my stats there, that will be his 11th pole position, and indeed it is. And actually, weirdly enough, that will be 11 different circuits that he's actually started on the pole. Looking at that, yeah, indeed he has. He's had a pole at Bathurst, Barcelona, St. Croix, Fuji, Suzuka, Autopolis, Kyoto, Sedegna, Nürburgring, Spa, and now Brands Hatch. So 11 different circuits, and that's his 11th pole.
That's actually a pretty good stat. I gotta give you applause for that one. That's a stat a lot of people wouldn't catch.
I like to keep my stats, in check.
Oh, we're doing our best here in Savoy with his stat man doing a great job. But hopefully we get the racing here underway soon. Once again, we shouldn't have too many connection issues this time around. Again, unfortunately, due to Charles and Hideki having to be removed from the championship. But that, hopefully for you viewers, means we get to bring you the racing a bit sooner. Everything goes a bit more smoothly for everyone here. So we're just currently waiting on the admins to compile all the time so we can figure out who needs to go into what lobby. I think we've already figured out most of the drivers who are probably going to end up in Lobby A. We mentioned Pim was going to be in there. Darth Nihilus, who made an excellent qualifying effort, outpacing Thomas TT. So perhaps maybe a bit of a buff happened for the 650S that Darth Nihilus is actually driving in that BOP update that I mentioned.
Yeah, Darth, I think he's driving the Skyline. Yeah, he is. He's driving. Not Skyline, GTR. So could say in Lobby B it was. He's in the GTR.
Oh, does he happen to switch teams then? I remember Darth. Oh, that's right. He replaced Iceman. That is correct. I was still thinking I was thinking he was still a reserve from the beginning of the season when he was racing in the 650S. So that's my mistake.
Yeah, so he must have been a replacement for Iceman. So we could possibly have at least 3 Ice Team racing in Lobby A. With Thomas and all?
It looks to be that way, so it's quite possible. And I think if the championship keeps ending up this way, it's actually quite possible that this would be the very first GR3 championship season we'd have where the constructors winners wouldn't match the drivers winners.
Yeah, I think I seen in there last week's video. I was looking back on the live comments there. Someone posted there, it's Ice-T versus ARC. I think that's going to be pretty much the case, isn't it? Because all we just talk about is the Ice-T of Cool Boo and Thomas, and now you got Darth now that's in the mix at all.
Like as we've seen the championship develop, we've seen. I always kind of mention this. I always bring this up every stream, but just you have drivers like Dark Nihilus who improves his pace. We had Nugatti in season 3, not season B, season 3 Lobby B, who the last race there was in the top 5 at the finish, and now he's leading the championship for Lobby A. It's just the improvement of these guys over time. You can see it's a straight slope upwards, and I just want to give a big shout out to all the drivers for actually putting in the time and the effort. There are a lot of drivers out there who just play this game casually, but when a lot of people who sign up for this championship, they put a lot of the time and effort in to not only improve themselves but figure out the strategies for our lobby settings, and the effort shows.
Yeah, it does show. I mean, we have touched on this before, like, as you say there, the dedication that these drivers put in. We've got like drivers that are gonna, that are probably gonna practice Spa in 2 weeks' time. When it's like after this race, they will practice at Spa next week and that. Like I can when we did the Red Bull race one, they were drivers practicing on Monday night, like a week before the actual race event was. You had like people practicing, putting laps and laps and laps in. I mean, it's just great to see, the hard work, the dedication, the commitment that these drivers have to try and win this championship.
100%, I agree with you. Everyone's doing their best to try and compete at the highest level that they can. I was going to say something, but now I forget what it was. I remember now. There we go. Sometimes the things slip your tongue, but then you remember it. I do want to remind everyone in the stream chat.
Like me too.
If you enjoy the content you happen to be seeing today, don't forget to hit the like button. It means a lot to us and helps us grow our stream and our outreach. If you also like what you see, hit the subscribe button. We pretty much stream almost every weekend now, pretty much, with how our schedule is ending up. So if you like the content you see, feel free to hit that button to be notified when next time we stream. And of course, if you ever feel like supporting us, we have a Teespring store, at teespring.com/stores/adrenaline-racing-community. If you want to support us, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, it's all there. All the stuff is excellent quality. I have a t-shirt and a hoodie myself. They're warm and comfortable. So if you ever want to get a bit of that merch, feel free to check out that link. So hopefully we can get the times here sorted out pretty quickly. So I believe they're just compiling them now. So let's jump into predictions. What do you think is going to happen in this race? Who do you think is actually going to take the lead after lap 1? Do you think Alex Rogers is going to hold it? Or do you see Nugatti trying to be aggressive, trying to extend his points lead?
Considering it's a rolling start, so it's it's not going to be advantage to anyone. It's a tricky track, this, because it's quite narrow. So I think Alex could probably hold on to the lead. Whether he can keep the lead is another issue, because we've seen the Nugatti before. He can race, and he will try and overtake. He's not like a guy like Chile that will just happily sit in and save fuel. So I could see the Nugatti wanting to make a move and take the lead of the race, and as you say, solidify his championship lead. It's just really down to who wants it more. But I could see Alex getting a good result here, possibly a win. Nugatti too. Chile's also in for the shout. Kobu as well, even Law. So I'm gonna probably say, I think with the experience in that, I would possibly say Alex may snick it. I think.
Okay, interesting choice. I think I understand your I understand your reasoning here. I completely do. However, as for my prediction, Nugatti in this position that he's been in, he's always done a weird alternating strategy. And one thing I've noticed with him specifically is when he qualifies in that mid pack, he doesn't really elevate outside that mid pack. But when he qualifies up front, he has potential to be fighting for that win. And the current second position he's in right now, he knows he needs those points. Although he knows he's not racing Alex Rogers for the championship, he knows he needs the points to stay ahead of Dan's, who's qualified in 8th, so it might not be a good race from him. He got Kobu in 4th, that's not far behind, but he's 50 points behind in the championship. I think Nugatti might take it a little bit easier this race, but he's still going to be gunning for that win, so my bet's going to go towards Nugatti.
Yeah, speaking of Dan's, his qualifying hasn't been particularly good in that Interstellar Mercedes. Apart from that second place qualifying that he had in the Red Bull ring, and that 4th place last week at Interlagos. Yeah. He's had 2 8ths and a 6th, so Dan's qualifying hasn't been particularly as stellar, as well as the Nugatti's actually. To be fair, the Nugatti's had 2 9ths, a couple of 3rds, and a pole position. But Dan's, he's I think his qualifying hasn't been particularly great this season, and it may have cost him a few points here and there.
I definitely have to agree with you, and I do want to give a shout out to Kobu. He did qualify, I believe it was in 5th place overall. So even in that GTR, it's going to be tricky. We've seen Kobu make the mistakes in the past, but he kept it very clean in Interlagos. He took his very first win for a North American driver in a GR3 Championship Series, as I've mentioned. So if he can keep it clean and use the power of that GTR, especially on that long Pilgrim's drop through Hawthorne's Hill and out of turn 8 to turn 9, if he can hang on to it, I think he might be one fighting for a podium here, and he could be a dark horse to take the championship.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a very dark horse. Anyways, we've got the times up here, Lato. So, shall I do Tier A, and you do Tier B, and I'll do Tier C, if that's all right?
Yep, I'm just compiling the times now.
Rightio, then. So we'll just wait for the people that are watching to see the time up on the screens. Hopefully, it shouldn't be too long.
Shouldn't be. I'm just gonna have to make sure I get the names down here. You want to start reading? If you want to start reading, go ahead.
I'll start reading. I was just about exit lobby B. So, anyways, on the poll, will be Alex Rogers, 1 minute 22.045, a tenth ahead of Nugatti. Then it's Law, who will equal his best ever qualifying in third position, 1 minute 22.347. Pim, the first driver out of Group C to make it into Lobby A, like it was like Techno Guy last season, 1 minute 22.394. Then you got Chile down in fifth place, second in the championship. Kobu fourth in the championship, 1 minute 22.474. Then you got DRE Matty at the Porsche, so his transition from Toyota to Porsche has been successful, qualified there in seventh place. Then you got Darth from the first drivers in Lobby B in eighth. Ninth is Ingolfer 121, a new driver in 1 minute 22.709. Then you got Dan's, that'll be his worst qualifying of the season. There it is, eventually. Dan's his worst qualifying this season, 1 minute 22.744. Thomas TT in 11th. Stig just making it. SSS Lucas SS. I'm guessing he's also from Lobby C. I'm guessing.
It's quite possible. He's someone who we haven't seen here, though I know he's a new driver of the championship, and I know he's pretty quick. I've seen him doing quite a few practice laps, and he managed to qualify in Lobby A. So I think he's also one of those drivers from Lobby C, as you mentioned. So he's going to be one to keep an eye out for.
Yep, just less than a second away from the pole position man, Alex Rogers, and Mermaid just squeaking into the show. 1 minute 23.135. Again, still very close in qualifying. Not like as it was in Interlagos last week, but it is still just over a second between first to last place in Lobby A. That's still competitively close.
That it is. But moving over to Lobby B, we have ACZ Alex on pole position there with a 123.138. Knoxville in second. Mini Conan in third. Kujer 708 in fourth. FTA in fifth. DRE Speedboy in sixth. Jerry Bear in seventh. Defiant in eighth. Hoodstack in ninth, if I'm not mistaken, if I didn't lose my numbers there. Arc Matty in 10th. Wiley Coyote in 11th. Techno Guy in 12th. Havoc in 13th. Cro-Magner in 14th. And then Thunder Pig in 15th with a gap of almost also a second.
Yeah, it's nearly just about a second. Just to mention that you're still on there. Yeah, you are. I mean, that's gotten for Alex Gaiman there. He's only missed out Lobby B by 0.04 of a second. That's a bit gotten. Shout out as well to Techno Guy. First time he's been in Lobby B for a while, so good effort from Techno Guy. Anyways, I'll get Lobby C up for you for entertainment, and it will be MJ Walter that will start on the pole. He was only 3 thousandths quicker than the bolded one. Eternicus in third. That's actually quite close there. Oh, look at that. Pierre and Chris F with the same lap times there. So look at that. First to fifth there. Less than half a tenth. That's very good there. Furious 2, half a second away from Chris F and Pierre. Manakai with a 124.670. Pingaphone, Notorious DRE. He's also half a tenth off Pinkaphone's time. Daryl B, Venom Q Snake, Jules Maximus, and Pred J, the points leader in Lobby C. And Haggis, I think I was told that Haggis wasn't racing, but it looks like to me on that screen that he showed up. So
I think both those drivers ended up missing qualifying, and that's why we see those times in the 2 minute and 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay then. So yeah, that'll be a disaster for Pred J, considering he is the championship leader in Lobby C. So he's got some work to do as Pred J in his Mercedes.
Yeah, he does, but it looks if we go back to Lobby A here, that's going to be a pretty good race. Again, Pim new to the championship. We saw him back in our Super Formula Series. DRE Matty now in the 911 filling in for, Charles TT. Ingolfer, who's new to the championship. Dark Nihilist, the first time he's ever made it into Lobby A. We have SS Lucas, who's new to Lobby A. So, it's going to be a pretty unpredictable race in some aspects.
We've got 4 new drivers in Lobby A, so that's just smashed the amount of drivers that were in TNA last season with Pim, Darth, Ingolfer, and Lucas. So, yeah, good job there for them people. But really, the interesting one is Dan's coming in here third in points. They're starting again way back in the field. He's already had an 11th place at Laguna Seca. There'll be dropped scores again after this race, because that'll be the second of 2, you said before we started the stream. And so, You know, I think, you know, every point is now critical, and for Dan's to start way back there, and considering Nugatti and Chile and Kobo are up there, you know, he's got to get on the move on, like, when the race actually starts.
Yeah, and it looks like we're getting the stuck checks now in Lobby A, so hopefully we can bring you the race fairly soon. So, back on the point of Dan's, he's already had that 111th place finish. And as we mentioned, only 2 drops, or you're dropping your 2 worst races for this 8-round championship. He's already had an 11th, so that's already been dropped according to the point score. If he finishes this race, you would think it would be his next drop in the championship, but there's still 2 more rounds to go after this. If he has another bad race, his championship hopes are over.
I mean, if he could take this bad finish here, then he'll be all right. He could just go for broke, really, because he'll have that 2 worst positions of 11th, and where he qualified, if we keep it as how it is, his finish will be 10th. It's just all down to like Nugatti and Chile, if they can have their worst 2 place finishes, which Nugatti's worst 2 finishes at the moment has been 2 6th place finishes at Monza and Interlagos. Chile's worst 2 finishes have been an 8th at Monza and a 7th at round 4 that was Bathurst. So, you know, I mean, but Dan's, even though finishing 11th and already dropped the score, what I'm trying to see what Kobu's ones is. Kobu's was an 8th and a 7th. So, yeah, that's going to be the, you know, whoever's good at maths to know about drop score points, keep us in touch there, because I think it's going to be quite tight with the points, with the drop scores coming, the second drop scores coming in after this race.
Oh, it's going to be super close. As we mentioned just earlier on the broadcast, top 4 are separated by 50 points. And it's, once again, it's 175 points for a victory in Lobby A. So the championship could go either way. And with those drop scores and the other 2 rounds, like we mentioned, we have Spa next round, which is round 7, then the final round at Catalunya. So it's going to be pretty crazy. These next few rounds are going to see different cars up and towards the top and the back of the field, all depending on how it's just everything goes. And we don't even know, there could be another BOP update in the future, especially with how they've been changing things with the tire physics and everything.
I'm just noticing here, looking at Pim, he's driving a Subaru.
Ooh.
Pim is driving a Subaru, and yeah, so I wonder if the Subaru's had a bit of an upgrade.
Subaru is not normally a car you typically see, especially in our kinds of competitions. So fair shout to Pim, the Dutch driver there, doing an excellent job taking a car when maybe you wouldn't bat an eye to and taking it to the top 3.
Yeah.
Or top 4, I believe.
I'm trying to think back to that Interlagos race back in season 2 where we covered it on Twitch, but we don't have it on YouTube. If we had a Subaru driver back then, but I can't recall it.
I think we did, and I believe it was Q at the final round at Interlagos. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's who it was.
No, but hang on. Oh no, wait, because Q replaced Defcon in the BMW with Kobu, didn't he?
Ah, that's correct.
Kobu's teammate, yeah. So I can't mind. I think it was the Hungarian driver, but I forgot what his name is. Oh well, never mind. Anyway, it's nice to see a new manufacturer up in there, Lobby A, anyways.
It definitely is nice to see that manufacturer. So one thing I do want to see, what has happened to S. Lucas be driving? He's driving the FT1, so we're still getting an FT1 in the field. So actually a pretty mixed field of cars, all things considered, especially of nationalities too. We have a bunch of different nationalities in this Lobby A lobby.
Yeah, I could just see that Dutch, American, Swedish, Icelandic. What else we got? Norwegian, Belgium, British. It's just ARC's international now, isn't it?
It definitely is. As we're getting a notification, the race is starting now in 5 seconds. So we're gonna move over to the race feed here, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna bring you round 6 of the ARC GR3 Championship. Once again, it's Alex Rogers on pole, Nugatti in 2nd, Law in 3rd, Pim in 4th, Chile in 5th, Kobu 6th, Maddie 7th, Nihilus 8th, Ingo in 9th, Dan's in 10th, Thomas 11th, Stake in 12th, S. Lucas in 13th, and Mermaid rounding out the back of the grid in 14th. And once again, it is a manual rolling start. So going into this, do you think your predictions have changed a little bit, knowing that maybe there's some cars in this you don't normally see? Or do you feel like your prediction's going to stand for this one?
I'll let you know when they leave turn 1.
Well, there you can see the entire field is away for this rolling start here at Brands Hatch, and it should be a good one, especially this turn 1 is super tricky, and with that gravel trap on the outside, as you're seeing on screen right now, that turn 1 is going to be crucial here at the start.
Yeah, and now they're going in towards turn 2 Druids, which is a great place to overtake someone around here. This is a very easy track to defend your position, especially at Druids. They go down towards Graham Hill. Cooper Street. So I mean, this is we said this before in the past year. Brands Hatch has held some great races, like we saw in the McGann Trophy Cup. As you see there, Dan's and Lucas, and there's Mermaid, who actually won that that Carnage race in the McGann Trophy Cup. Did Mermaid, because he passed, I think it was Matty on the inside at Druids, if I can remember. But yeah, I think it's going to be nip and tuck here. I don't think this race will disappoint. So the people that are watching this on YouTube, I'd better, go to the fridge or get some popcorn, because I think this is going to be very interesting.
Oh, it's going to be super fun. A 1-hour race around Brands Hatch. I think we're probably going to see if I can do some math that doesn't add up at all in my head. I'm going to expect somewhere around... I'm going to say around 35 laps, 38 probably at most. I have no idea if that math adds up. I just think that sounds right.
I think Law was saying he was about 43 or 44 laps, possibly.
Okay. As you can see the field bunching up here for the start at Brands Hatch. Alex Rogers on pole. Rest of the field starting to catch up here into that green zone. Let's see what happens going into turn 1 as we're going to start here any second now. Alex Rogers will get on the throttle and the race will start, and we are underway at Brands Hatch. Alex Rogers gets away well. He's clear ahead of Nugatti, looking back behind him as they go through turn 1. It looks like side by side a little bit there with Chili and it looked like Maddie, as you see Pim to him. There's a quick look to the inside, but Law going defensive there. Pim still trying to look. There's a touch. Pim spins around Law, but they managed to get back pointed straight there. So they managed to keep it straight. Pim has to be careful not to be too aggressive here. The starter, he goes very wide here through turn 3. He's going to lose possibly 2, maybe 3 positions to Ingleford and Maddie, as well as Kobu up on the inside. As we see on board here at the roof of his car, him and Kobu side by side. This corner is very hard to go side by side, but they managed to do it. Pim gets the run, and now they already have a 1.5 second gap between Pim and Chili and the cars in front. So now it's a 4-car battle for the feed, but Maddie and Kobu side by side for 6th place. Going into turn 5 here, Hawthorne Ben, Kobu go out on the outside. No, he will lose a position. Looking back on the inside now of Maddie. No, he falls back into 7th place, and they're single file now through the rest of the lap.
Just noticed, checking on a replay there, Lucas had a bit of a moment on the Cooper straightaway, not unless he lost his Toyota. He lost control of his Toyota, must have been at Green Hill Bend, so he's recovering from that, so disaster already for Lucas. Yeah, but Pim there already having some scary moments in the opening lap.
He's going to have to be careful not to pick up any penalties here. It's going to be very easy, especially in a battle pack like this. And there you can see Lucas 8 seconds behind Stig at 13th. As you mentioned, he had that moment.
Pim's really caught up to Chile already. He's already gained a second on that Citroen.
That he has. Pim has been an absolute motor. One thing we actually haven't done is say what drivers are on what tires for the start of this race.
Yeah, I was just looking through the drivers here. So I'm seeing here everyone apart from Chile, Matty, Ingolfer, Dan's, Mermaid, Darth, Thomas, Stig, and Lucas are on the medium tyres. So everyone else, apart from those drivers that I've named, it says yellow flag. Someone's gone off. I think that's Stig. I think Stig's had a moment. Yes, he has. He's gone off through, that's Surtees, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Let's grab a replay and see what happened here. So it looks like there's cars battling in front of him here. It looks like Gnarlis on the inside, and Stig just doesn't want to make contact and gets his outside tire on the curb, and the rear end of that Corvette spins right around.
That's not what he needed, considering he's coming to this 5th in the championship. He's about to lose that 13th place as Lucas passes him on the inside at Hawthorne's. Sorry, that's Westfield. My apologies.
They're still battling back and forth, but back at the front, I was going to say it looked like I saw some arrows pretty close to the track. It might have been Chili and Pim. Yeah, they're within half a second. So Pim on an absolute fly and a tear here at Brands Hatch. He's pulled right up to the back of Chili.
Yeah, Chile is on the medium tyres, Pim's on the soft, so we've got quite a few drivers starting on the softs, and I think the majority of the field are on medium, so I'm wondering if this could be a two-stop strategy is the way to go. I think I was speaking to Dan before earlier today, and he was saying, having two stops is not really going to hurt. You're only going to lose like at least 6 seconds if you're going to do a two-stop strategy.
He's
Here comes Point to the inside.
He's looking up the inside. Chili lets him by, leaves the door open, and Pim goes right on through. The soft tire's already gaining him that position, but Chili has to be careful he doesn't fall into the clutches of Matty and Kobu behind him.
Tell you what, good start though there, actually, for Mermaid. He's up to 10th place after starting in last position, so Mermaid's had a good start in his Simp Racing Chevy.
Looks like a great pass from Kobu there, though. They're still side by side going through here. Matty has to be careful not to lose the rear end of the Porsche at the exit of that corner. They're still side by side, but Kobu finally gains that position. That was a great move. He set up all the way through the outside of Hawthorne Bend, got the undercut on the exit, and he's up into 6th place.
Yeah, Kobu's also starting on the soft tyres, so he's going to catch Chili very soon, but he might bring a whole field of cars ahead of him as Matty's trying to go around the outside of Kobu, going into clear A's and the Clark Curve. He's going to go for the crisscross by the looks of it. No, he's not going to get there, so I would expect Kobu to maybe slightly pull away from the pack behind him and start closing that gap on Chili, which is 2.6 seconds. Ooh!
See the battle.
Sorry, I thought Matty was going to hit him in the back then, sorry.
You can see just the closest battle for 6th places, and there's even more cars behind that can easily add themselves to it. But one to keep an eye out for here is Dan's. I believe if you mentioned with my check, you see all the mediums, so I expect him to maybe go for a one-stop here. It's quite possible he could try and make it work around here at Brands Hatch. He's in the middle of the pack, being able to maybe throw on the soft tires earlier on, maybe get him some positions, and as you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it's quite easy to defend your position here, so maybe going for the one-stop and just trying to hold on towards the end of the race might be the better call for Dan's here.
Yeah, but he's got to make a move on as soon as he can. Beat the 9th place, and with Nagati and that being so far up, it's Dan's got to make a move anyway. He's closing on the back of Engolfer, so Engolfer having a nice race, and that's he's also driving the Mercedes too. So there we go. Then into Sheen. That's an easy place to make a mistake through Sheen Curve. It is a blind corner, very easy to unride through there. Thomas is looking all over the back of Mermaid behind Dan's. Looks like Thomas is trying to set a pass up, maybe. Go through clearways up the Clark Curve, but it just seems to be that Chevrolet. You said with that update today, looks like it's got a bit more grunt on that straightaway.
I think what they did is they took off a bit of the weight that it was slowing the car down. I think it gave it a bit more acceleration, and the torque in that front, the V8 in the front of that car is already pretty powerful. As you see him go defensive there to try and hold on for Thomas TT back behind. I want to jump to the front right now. No, okay, I thought there might have been a bit of a close battle for that 2nd place between Nugatti and Law. Wasn't quite there, but Pim actually seems to be closing up to the back of Law here, and he's already gapped Chili by 2 seconds.
Yeah, looking at the last lap times there, Law did a 123.3, so he's doing consistent 123s. Pim's just gone into the 122, and he's actually purple in that sector, so Pim could be on for the fastest lap in that Subaru. I mean, that's actually quite weird to see a Subaru being that out there and competitive, and again, a manufacturer that we don't see in this championship, and it's doing extremely well.
I mean, fair play to Pim. Pim's been a very strong driver, especially in that Super Formula Championship. He was one of the top 5 guys in it. And now he's here at the GR3 Championship. He's got a car that no one else is in, and it's kind of throwing everyone else for a loop. So I have to give him the credit that's due to him.
It was like we were mentioning about the Citroen being in Season 3. So that's a car we never chosen, but we saw how good that car was off the start of the line. It was just unbelievably quick. Anyways, he's in within slipstream's distance of Law, as you can see just ahead of that Sandy Porsche Citroen.
Braking now into the Druid's hairpin turn 2 here. And you can see just how much time he gains on the exit of that corner. That Subaru has got the traction.
I wonder if that's going to be a car to be chosen for Season 5.
It is quite possible if it's performing this strongly here. It might be opening the eyes of some of these drivers.
Oh, just to mention, Engolfer's down to 11th place. I don't know if Engolfer's had a mistake. He did a 126.253. Mermaid and Thomas has gone by him. And now Darth is all over the back of that Mercedes. So Engolfer's made a mistake. So that's key then for Dan's championship. He's up to 8th place. He's got nearly 2.5 seconds to catch up Matty in that Porsche.
That he does. And Dan's is almost in that no man's land right now based on his current position. He's had worse finishes with him finishing in 11th place, but if he finishes in 8th place, that's seriously going to hurt his points. Even like he either has to really climb the order or fall back significantly, that this becomes another drop, almost another guaranteed drop for him, for this race to not be almost a throwaway and ruin his championship. He's in that no man's land currently.
Tell you what, there's a great battle going on with that 9th place there. Memory's holding up a gaggle of cars as Thomas trying to look on the inside, going into clearays, but he's not going to get there just yet. So a nice 4-car scrap there. As you're looking at it there, sorry, I was looking at your screen now.
There you can see Nyla's trying to go around the outside of Engelfer down into turn 1 as Mermaid goes side by side with Thomas. Thomas up the inside, Mermaid gets the power on the outside, he holds on to it, but now Thomas is compromised on the exit. Engelfer looking up the inside and Druids, he's going to get there in the braking. Can he hold? They got a little bit wobbly there on the turn in, and no, he can't get in position. It falls back into 11th place.
Oh, Thomas had a huge moment on the exit of Druids there. That car was sideways there off the corner, nearly lost it. Had a massive tank slap, but kept onto it. Good job there. I tell you what, Pim he's there. He's now caught up to Law, now less than half a second. I tell you what, Pim is flying around this track.
It looks like Kobu's all over the back of Chile for that 5th place too, so that's going to be another battle to watch. Kobu having a little bit of a look there going into turn 6, Westfield. That's mad again. Press the right button and watch the right car. As you can see, he's just all over the back of him here, and just we know how strong that GTR is in a straight line. Now, if straight line speed isn't going to be as strong, again, as we mentioned earlier, the horsepower of the GTR has been nerfed a little bit, but it got a lot lighter to counteract it, so it can turn in, but it's not going to have the same amount of grunt on these straights. But now it's in the draft of that Citroen, it's going to be pretty powerful.
Just looking at Pim's fuel mileage there, I wonder if he's not saving fuel. To me, Law's got a lot more fuel than what Pim has, so I'm just wondering if Law's trying to save that bit of fuel. 5.6 seconds he is away from the Gatti, so I'm guessing he must be saving fuel, whereas Pim just is not.
It's quite possible. Pim might be going for that 2-stop strategy. As you mentioned, he's on the softs now, so he's trying to gain as much ground right now as he can, so if he doesn't save now, that makes sense. He's trying to utilize his soft tires as much as he can, and then he can save when he jumps to the medium tires that they're filling back up again. And that way, when he jumps to possibly another set of mediums, if he decides to go for a 2-stop, it's just a tire set.
Just looking here, I think the Stig has made another mistake. I've just noticed on the 6th lap time, he did a 1:35.8, which is 11 seconds still. So the Stig is really struggling around here as someone's got a penalty. That's Pim. And he's got to burn that in the middle of Sterling and clearways. Oh, and he went off there, sorry.
That half a second penalty. I think he just turned in a little bit too early through Westfield, so he's going to have to burn it here, pull off to the side and burn it. He does. Out of the way.
I wonder if that's going to hurt his momentum now. He's got nearly over 1.5 seconds to catch back up on Law.
I think it might, but I'm just back to the battle for 5th place. Chile and Kobu still going at it for that top 5 position. And then back to the battle for, I was trying to go back there. Thomas still ahead of Mermaid. Angle's there, but it looks like Nihilus has dropped back quite a bit. So props an incident somewhere from Nihilus as we're looking at some of the battles towards the higher end of the field. But still, this battle for the top 10 here is quite strong.
Yeah, just looking at a replay, what happened to Darth, he got it all wrong on the exit of Sterling's and had another tank slapper and had another moment through Clark Cleve. So Darth there having some problems in that GTR. Such a shame though, because he had being in there Lobby A for the first time. He's not really disappointing himself, but he's dropped away from that nice battle for 9th place.
And we see Kobu having a look up the inside of Chile, go on through Hawthorne's, now through Hawthorne's bend. Will happen to Kobu what he did to Matty earlier? No, he will not. He will hold on to it, and Kobu takes 5th place from Chile.
I wonder if Kobu's feeling confident now that he's got that race win under his bag. I wonder if that's going to steamroll him and find a lot more confidence in himself and driving that GTR.
I think it will. I can speak from personal experience. Even getting just that feeling of winning, getting that one win under your belt, is a huge ego boost and your confidence in your abilities. So he might be way more confident in the car. It could easily be worth possibly 2/10 depending on how he is mentally. But it's definitely a big thing for you as a driver to have that one win under your belt.
Looking back up at the front here, the gap now is slowly coming down now. I think Nugati's really got the power on Alex Rogers just ahead. They are setting really pretty much the same lap times as as each other there. I think the last 2 lap times, Alex did a 1:22.7, Bugatti did a 1:22.7. Last lap 1:22.6 from Alex, 1:22.6 from the Bugatti there. So they're matching nose to tail. These two.
They're both on the soft tire, and they're both on roughly the same amount of fuel, so they're going to be one to watch come later on in the race. So looking back in third place now, we still see Law ahead of Pim. Pim not quite able to find a way by. Let's compare the tire wear between these two cars. They're both on the softs, but Pim is quite a bit worse on his tires.
Yeah, it's just amazing how he's caught up as well. And I mean, Kobu now, he's now freed himself from Chile. He's starting to close up on the back of that Subaru. Just wondering if Pim's a control user, actually.
It's quite possible. I haven't seen him or heard from him in a while, but so it's quite possible he's on a pad. I believe he was on a pad in the Super Formula Series, if I'm not mistaken. So it's quite possible he still has that pad. But looking back at the battle for 10th spot, it looks like Thomas TT has managed to pull out quite a sizable gap over Mermaid, almost 1.8 seconds now. Mermaid now has to defend from Engelfer in 11th.
Right on board in the back of Mermaid, going through Druids. And you can just see that back in the background now. Darth is slowly catching them, isn't he?
He's always right there. If something happens between these two, he's going to be there to pick up the pieces. But what's interesting to me is just how much Engelfer closes up in the braking there. But then you can see just Mermaid, the grunt, the less weight that Corvette had has in it now. It's able to get on the throttle that much sooner. You can see just how much he pulls away.
Actually, the guy that's behind Darth, Lucas, has been setting some decent lap times. Although just saying that, he's nearly went off then. Oh, Matt, commentator's chaos. My apologies, Lucas.
The exit of every corner, that Corvette is managing to pull away from the Mercedes of Engelfer. But Engelfer closes up on quarter entry.
Yeah, that Mercedes is good on racing, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that was a love tap there. Yeah, that Mercedes is pretty good on the brakes, but I think when it comes to straight line speed, the Chevrolet beats the Mercedes overall. You'll see it just here, the grunt on that V8 on that Corvette just pulling away slightly. Oh, Ingo is tucked up in that slipstream. Two different lines through Paddock Hill. I don't know if Ingo was trying to avoid Mermaid because
back to his battle for 6th place. Now Chile's falling off quite a ways there from Kobu, and it's falling into the clutches of Maddie here for that 7th spot. So Maddie here, so let's compare their tire wear while we can. Maddie's on the mediums, Chile's on the mediums, but Chile's actually a bit worse on tire wear compared to Maddie.
Yeah, I think the transition from Toyota to Porsche is actually working a bit here. Maddie looking very racy. Yeah, Chile's already going defensive by the looks of it. He's not really defending his positions, didn't he? He let him go by, he let Kobu go by, so I wonder if he's sort of kind of restricted to where he is right now in that 6th place.
It's quite possible. It's also quite possible that he's going to go for that 2-stop strategy. As we mentioned, he's on the mediums, so he might be saving those softs for his next stint and might actually be pulling in roughly within the next lap or two.
Yeah, roundly about 40 minutes to go. If you're putting in with about 40 minutes to go, then you're on for the 2-stop like Dan's is right now. He's going for the 2-stop.
58% fuel just to set the tire.
And he's on to the soft.
He's on the soft tire, but he comes up behind Thomas TT. Does he stay out in front of Mermaid and Engelfer, who are battling behind him? He has to stay in front of that pack, and it looks like he will. So he timed that stop to perfection.
Yeah, that's good there. So he's got some clean air. He didn't want to be out ahead behind Mermaid and Ingo, who are having their own personal battle. So that's good there for Dance. He's out in some clear air.
He's going to be one to watch here. He's got light fuel. He's got the soft tires, so I expect him to probably set some fast laps here. He might possibly break the lap record if he really wants to get that hammer down. But right now he's setting his sights on Thomas TT in front of him. There's going to be a sitting duck for him on his new fresh set of softs. Back at the front, just looking at the battle between Alex Rogers and Nugatti, and it's now down to under a second.
And they're both staying out there. So I'm wondering if both Alex and Legatti are going for a one-stop. I think really it's probably there. And I mean, look at them. Them two have already checked out. Law's 11 seconds behind, and I mean, Law's still sitting in a pretty phenomenal third place, but the gap there is pretty concerning now. Over 11 seconds, and we're only, what, 15 laps in?
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Law was on the soft tires. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he is. Yeah, they're all on the soft tire. Just you can see that pace difference as you see Pim still going for it. But as we see more pit stops, there's Maddie making a pit stop, Chili making a pit stop to the softs. So it looks like Dance is now on the soft. So Dance actually comes out behind Chili. So Dance wasn't quite able to get the undercut onto Chili.
As far as I know, he's actually improved the spot. I think he's up to 7th now. I might be wrong though. In fact, yeah.
Maddie is still on the mediums. I believe he was on the mediums when he came into the pit stop.
It's disaster for Maddie because he's now got a battle in front of him. As you see, that is Thomas, isn't it? Yep.
Just wanted to check their tire wear, but yeah, look at that battle. Look at that 4-car battle for that 8th spot, and we have slow cars in front of Mermaid and Engelford who are yet to pit, possibly going for that one stop. Then you got Maddie, and I believe that's Darth Nihilus right behind him. So the slipstream of Maddie has actually allowed Nihilus to get himself back into that mix for 8th place.
Yeah, this is not what Maddie wanted to be out in front of a battle ahead of him, which is what Dan did a lap ago and it worked. And you can see Dan has already pulled well away from that battle, almost over 4 seconds. He's already gained like so much on Chili. I think Chili's not yet pitted though. Oh yes, he has. Chili's onto the softs. Law's the first to come in from the top 5, as well as Kobu.
So Law goes on the mediums. I can see the switch there. So Law mediums, Kobu back onto the mediums. So they're both out. Where they're going to come out. Kobu comes out as still in 5th ahead of Chili.
Yep.
So Law in 4th, Pim up into 3rd place. I expect Pim to be making a pit stop pretty soon. That front left tire is not looking too healthy.
Mermaid's just coming to the pit lane to change tires. I'm just checking on him. He is staying on the medium tires. So he's going to go for a soft set on the last pit stop. He comes out just behind Lucas and Thomas. And stick in last place still on those set of mediums that he started with. So I don't know if... I think Stiggy's possibly going for a one-stop, he thinks.
It's very possible given his current position. Still on board with Maddie in a slipstream of Engelford. Those cars, even with Maddie's soft tires, those cars are so even in a straight line that even with the slipstream, Maddie isn't quite able to close. And now into Sheen curve, this was pretty dangerous. He's having to look up the inside, not quite going to go for it. Oh, but Engelford goes off. Engelford makes a big mistake. 2 carries too much speed through Sheen curve, has to rejoin. Gives room to Nihilus. So
let's
get a replay what happened here. So on board Engelford heading up now through Dingledale, now to turn 7 Sheen curve, and just the car doesn't turn in. His tires are too worn, and you can see just it doesn't have the bite it needed. And there just goes Darth Nihilus. Close call there, but back down to 10th place for Engelford. We might see a pit stop this time by.
No, he's not. He's staying out. Yeah. It looked like he carried a bit too much speed through Sheen curve, and it just went off. And it's like I said at the start of the video, of the stream there. It's very easy to go off there. Very easy.
Do want to give a shout out to SS Lucas. It looks like he might have made a pit stop a bit earlier, but he's already up into 11th spot. So he's going for that 2-stop strategy, but he's already back ahead of Mermaid. So Lucas definitely gaining a lot of time here.
No, I don't think he has. I think he's still out now on the same yellow flags. Thomas has gone off. Lobby B points leader having a moment on the exit of that Surtees.
Yeah, he just Ingo in front of him too had a big moment, and it caught Thomas out.
Oh, it caught him out. Yeah, he was copying the same lines and hard head on into the barrier. And that's front end and some front left suspension damage on that GTR. But I think that's really the first characteristic mistake from Thomas this season.
I think it is too. Thomas traditionally in the past has been a bit hit or miss, especially back in season 3 when he drove the Lexus. There were some races like at Kyoto and the Nürburgring where he was on the podium in those races, but then there were other rounds where he was nowhere. He was definitely in that lobby B. But in this season, that GTR, it's definitely suiting him and his driving style a lot better. But as you mentioned, it's not often we've seen him this season make mistakes like that.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Back at the front, though, Nugatti was within half a second of Alex Rogers for the lead. Both these drivers going for that one stop, it appears. So let's see what can happen here. They might pull in the pit lane. I might see Nugatti or Alex pull in the pit lane this time by trying to go for that undercut. So let's see what happens here. Still within that half a second. Nugatti in the slipstream. Let's compare their tire wears real quick. Almost the exact same.
I don't think they'll be pitting. They'll pit maybe within the next couple of laps or so. It's just a case of who's going to go for the undercut first. If I was Nugatti, I would go for it, and then he'll probably come out ahead of Alex. Change onto those medium tyres, or if Alex would beat the undercut, maybe still come out ahead. But then Nugatti's got to do a qualifying lap if he wants to go ahead of Alex when he makes his pit.
These two definitely going at it. One thing to note is Alex Rogers cannot take the championship at the end of the year. He might end the season with the most points over any other driver, but he cannot take the Tier A championship as he is a reserve driver and has not joined the team. There's no way Alex Rogers can take away the championship from Nugatti in that sense, but it is possible that it could be an asterisk next to Nugatti's name at the end of the season. Alex Rogers has a higher total points than Nugatti.
Yeah, that could be interesting too. Looking here at Law, he is really catching up on the back of Pim. Pim's tyres are looking very much worse for wear, as it seems. I think Pim is going for a one stop, so I think Pim could come out behind Law, maybe could possibly Chile, so Pim is really struggling, as you see back up front. Nugatti's looking a lot closer now than he is.
They're still staying out. They're probably going to try and get another lap out of it. But as you mentioned, Pim, he seems to be falling off quite a bit. That left side of that Subaru is struggling as he almost loses the rear end of it there. Law is catching real quick. Pim's going to lose a lot of time here, I feel.
Yeah, I don't think the one-stop strategy is going to work for Pim, and he now pulls into the pit lane. So Pim, he may have hit the wall.
He did hit the wall,
entering into the pit lane.
No damage.
No damage done. So he's going to hopefully go onto medium tyres. He can't go onto another set of softs, hopefully. And he isn't. And he's only putting 49% of fuel in. That's interesting, that. I don't think that's good to go the rest of the way, he thinks there, 49%.
It's a weird strategy. Like, he definitely pitted on the soft tires to go for a one stop, but he pits with fuel like he's going for a two stop, and that's interesting.
If he was going to go for the two stop, he should have been pitting with about 40 minutes to go instead of 32. But yeah, that's a very interesting call on Pim's part there. Not a lot of fuel in after the pit stop, not unless if he's going to save it the rest of the way. I mean, you got 31 minutes to save 49% of fuel. I think that's nigh on impossible.
I don't think he's going to get that to work. But back at the front, will either of these drivers go into the pit lane this time by? No, they won't. They stay another lap. Still half a second between them at the front of the field here at Brands Hatch. Law now in third after Pim made pit stop. Kobu in fourth and Chile in fifth. So Law could be on for a very solid result here. As we mentioned, he's only fifth in the championship overall, 90 points back if I'm not mistaken. So if Law gets a good podium result here, that championship at the end of the season could be pretty close.
Law could be on course for his best ever finish at the moment. Currently he stands at fifth in Austria, which he did earlier this season, back in round one. So Law is looking really good here. If he can stay where he is, that would be his best ever finish, and it'll be his first ever podium in all. A different podium person will stand on the podium in season 4, I think it is. Yeah, season 4. I need to check how many people have stood on the podium yet, because I think there's been a lot more than there has ever been in all the other seasons.
That's quite possible. But remember, Law is on the two-stop strategy, while Kobu and Chile behind him.
I think they're both on a two-stop too.
So who's on the softs here? I think Chile's on the softs. Yes, he is. And
Chile's on the softs.
Kobu's on the mediums.
Because Kobu started on softs as well as Law. So Law and Kobu are on mediums, and Chile's on the softs. And Dan's he's also on softs too. I think Nugatti's made a pit stop here. Yeah, I think Nugatti's in the pits.
And he is.
I think he must have made a mistake.
He has. That's a huge gap. He has front end damage.
Oh, he went off. He just went off at clearways. On the straightaway between Sterling's and clearways. So Nugatti, huge moment there. And that will allow Alex there to have a bit of breathing room now.
That's a big mistake from Nugatti when he had almost no pressure on in that situation.
He may come up behind Law.
He's right in front of him. He's right in front of him. And remember, he's already used his soft tires.
And look at Chili. Chili's looking on the inside of Gobu.
He's already used his soft tires. If he makes another mistake like that, he could lose a lot of positions. This could blow the championship wide open. Chili on his soft tires, if he can find a way by Law, he has a shot at possibly getting the position from Nugatti.
Yeah, it's really in Chili's hands now. He's the only one that's on soft tires out of this battle here. So yeah, Nugatti, like Thomas, an uncharacteristic mistake. And Dan's is also there in the background too. He's hunting him down.
What you're seeing on screen are the top 5 people in the championship for Tier A right now.
Yeah, that actually is. That's a great shout out there, Lateral. Alex comes into the pits now. He'll be under no pressure whatsoever now. The gap though, 23 seconds still away from the Gatti, but that's
really all over the back of Law here, but he can't find a way by. He knows he needs to get by if he wants to have a chance at getting by Nugatti.
Alex is just coming out of the pit lane, but he's going to come out well ahead of the field there, including Nugatti's mistake. Look at Chili. Oh, is Lodge letting him by?
I don't think so. I think he might be. I think he knows Chili's on the soft tire. So there you go. Chili's through to third, but who's going to be faster? Nugatti on his new set of mediums or Chili on a slightly worn set of softs? Remember, Chili on the 2-stop strategy here. He's got another roughly 8 minutes to go in this stint before he's probably switches back to the medium tire. And there's Dan's just showing his head in this battle pack as well. 1.2 seconds between him and Kobu, and he seems to be closing because if I'm not mistaken, yes, he's also on the soft tire.
Yeah, he was the first one to pit. So he should be coming into the pit lane in about 7 minutes time to make his go back onto the medium tires, but yeah, he is slowly catching on the back of that GTR. So Nugatti pulling away from Chili.
I think it's roughly even through that sector. Maybe a bit of time here. But Chili might be doing... I don't know if he's fuel sieving a little bit here. You see he gains at the exit of some of these corners, but I think through corner entry he loses a bit of time. He's right there. He's almost just within the slipstream. He's still closing, but he has to do it real fast, otherwise his tires won't be able to hold up for him to make the challenge for that second spot.
Oops. So I'm just looking further back through the field there. My apologies. A battle going on for 11th place. The Stake versus Ingo. And then closely behind is recovering Thomas after making that mistake a couple of laps ago. He's starting to close up on the back of that battle, but yeah, it looks like Chili has sort of freed himself away from the Law. And again, that's like I said, that's with the soft tyres that Chili's got. And you can see their battle going on. Chevrolet on the outside, Mercedes on the inside, going in towards Paddock Bend, and Mercedes of Ingo will pass Stig. So Stig down to 12th. As now Law is under some severe threat from Kobu and Dan's now.
Law's got to be real careful here. It's really easy for him to lose the rear end of there. He knows he's got 2 fast cars behind him right now that want that 4th spot. And Law is actually on course for an actually really solid finish here. Remember, he was only the 2nd driver to make a pit stop, and Chili kind of went for the overcut on him. So Law is a bit worse for wear on tires compared to Chili, but if he times his pit stop right, if Chili tried to battle with Nugatti, Law could actually end up in that final spot on the podium ahead of Chili.
He could, yeah, definitely he could there. Just looking at Law's results here, he's had a 5th, a 9th, 2 tenths and an 8th. So this is, again, by far his best run to date. Could it be his best finish if he steps on the podium, if he can close up a little bit on Chili? But obviously, Chili's on the softs. I mean, look at Dan's. Dan's has really caught up to Kobu, hasn't he? Again, that's the soft tire. He's had more laps though than what Chile did on his set of softs.
Sorry, just looking back at that 13th spot, looks like Thomas has finally made his way by Stig as Stig goes into the pit lane, it looks like. Yep, Stig makes a pit stop, so he's going for that two-stop strategy. And looking at Chile, Chile is just outside half a second of Nugatti, so he's definitely in the slipstream now. But his tires have just enough life to give him a challenge for that position. So if he can enter the pit lane ahead of Nugatti, I don't think he can take the second spot because Nugatti's on that one stop. But it's going to be pretty close, especially if Nugatti makes another mistake like he did earlier.
And as it's, anything is possible with this. I mean, it was unheard of for Nugatti to make a mistake. So you never know. It just goes to show how tricky this track really is. It's tight, twisty, uphill, downhill. It's a challenge for over drivers. And it's caught a few of them out. Ingo at Sheen, Nugatti as well, Darth at the moment. It's still all to play for. I mean, there's still 23 minutes to go. You never know. The leader, Alex Rogers, might make a mistake.
It's quite possible, and he's done it before, especially back to that Suzuka race that we saw in Season 2.
Yeah. He'll be watching back that stream. He'll have nightmares talking about us with that Suzuka race, isn't it?
I can almost guarantee he's going to send me a message in the Discord. You had to bring up Suzuka.
Cool, we're looking racy now for fourth. He's right on board with Dan's, just ahead.
Dan's currently in the 6th place as Super GG, one of his favorite YouTubers would say.
Are you alright now?
He seems to have actually fallen off a little bit from the back of Kobu.
Yeah, I think those soft tyres have had enough, methinks. He'll be pitting in very soon, I'd reckon.
Yeah, he notes he's starting to lose just a little bit of time to Kobu. I'm expecting next lap for Dan's. Back at the front, Alex Rogers leading by 7.9, now 8 seconds. Nugatti still in second, but he's actually managed to gap Chile. So Nugatti feeling a little bit more safe here, knowing that he has at least a bit more breathing room. Law still in 4th ahead of Kobu, who's in 5th. Dan's in 6th. Back here we see Pim in 7th, but Pim going for, let's have a look here. He actually, he roughly 10 minutes, he's used a quarter of a tank. Ooh, he almost loses the rear end there, so he needs to make another pit stop for fuel, but he doesn't need tires. So it might just be a simple fuel stop for Pim. We have Mermaid back in 8th, Lucas up into 9th, so doing a good job from Lucas to recover from his first lap spin. Then we have Ingo in 10th, Thomas TT in 11th, there's DRE Matty coming out of the pit lane in 12th, Stig at 13th, and then Darth Nihilus back in 14th. You can see just Nugatti pulling away from Chile even more now.
Looking at the gap there, it's just over 8 seconds now. I wonder if Nugatti's just going to be content to be sitting in second place. He'll probably know that Chile will have to pit sometime soon. So I think Nugatti could be in the net second place, barring any mistakes. It's just really the battle for that bottom step at the podium. Well, I don't know if Chile's actually... I mean, the gap is over, 3.6 seconds. So I wonder if Chile's pretty much secured that third spot there, considering that both Chile, Law, Kobu and Dan's have got pit yet again. And I think Pim also in the background, 6 seconds away from Dan's. I don't think he's going to be a
Law, that's
factor.
right. I was just trying to remember. Law has already used the soft tires. Chile's on the softs now. So when they pit, they'll both be on the same level of mediums, but it looks like Chile's got slightly less fuel than Law, but only probably make roughly 0.2 of a second the difference in the pit stop, based on the difference in fuel. So, I mean, it could end up being quite a close race, especially if Law goes for the early pit stop and try and undercut Chile here.
Yeah, Law's gotta, put the metal to the metal here and try and close up, because that gap is still going up now. Over 4 seconds he has over Chile, so he's gotta produce some absolute qualifying laps coming after his second stint. And as well, you got Kobu there too, and Dan's also behind as well. It's not going to be easy for Law, but it can be done. case of who's going to come into the pits first out of them
Chili.
lot.
It's Chili.
Chili's going to come in first. I would expect Dan's to come in too. Does he? No, he doesn't. Okay.
Dan stays out, so Chili's going to come into the pits early, make a pit stop for those medium tires now, fuel up. So he's going to try and undercut to try and hold his position. You see Pim making his pit stop as well. Let's see what he does. Oh, Pim actually is putting another set of tires on.
Kobu's going on the outside of Law at Druids. Not going to do it just yet. Not going to happen just yet. So where did Chili come out then? How far back is he? He's just gone into
Sixth.
Druids. But the rest of the battle for third now is just going in towards that 30s, isn't it? So yeah, 6 seconds. Dan's is flashing. His fuel's flashing. So I think he should have just picked that last lap there. He might have lost out on a bit of time here.
As you see, Kobu still trying to find a way by Law. Law goes defensive as they head into Hawthorne, and he holds position. The more these two fight, the more it gives Chili the chance to get that podium. But Law's got to be careful here because he has to do that one mother stop like Chili did, but Chili's going to go for that undercut. So unless Law underfuels to try and jump him in the pit lane, it's going to be close.
That is going to be close because I think it's what Dan was saying to me. It's roughly 6 seconds for time to make a pit stop. So that's going to be nip and tuck. And in fact, all of them are coming in now. So yeah, here we go. It's a battle now. So do you keep an eye out on?
Look at the difference in fuel between Law and the others.
Oh yeah, that could be a pivotal moment there.
So Law's definitely going to come out in front of them. Where's Chili? Chili's in third.
Chili's
He's
just
going
going
to turn one. He's got the position.
He's got the position. So now the gap that was there is actually it's actually extended now, isn't it? Over 5 seconds. So that was a bit anticlimactic, wasn't it?
I think if Law had gone for the undercut, they would have been side by side on exit. We would have had a race to the end, but Chili was a smart one, went for the undercut to hold his position, and that's what he's got right now. There's only roughly a lap or two difference in their tires, so I don't think in 18 minutes Law is going to close 5.5 seconds, unfortunately. But still, we have Kobu and Dan battling for that 5th spot, and Pim is just right there in the background, and Pim already made his pit stop too.
Someone's actually in the pits as well. Who could that be? That's Thomas. Thomas is in and comes out, and he's on a fresh set of softs. Yeah, so Thomas coming out on the softs. It's all the way down in last place. This will be by far his worst finish of the season, will be Thomas's. Interesting as well to note that Ice-T Racing will have, they've got 3 cars, haven't they? And Polestar's got the 1, haven't they? So again, good points here for Ice-T, considering that Darth and Thomas are 13th and 14th respectively. Kobu's the only one there up in the top 5. Look at Dance, Dance is trying to get by Kobu, isn't he?
He's definitely trying. Looking back between the gap between Chili and Law, still 5.5 seconds roughly. Alex Rogers leads by 8.7 seconds, 8.8 now. Bugatti in second by 14 seconds. So at the front, it's fairly lonely. But this battle for 5th place seems to be shaping up, especially with Pim right there looming in the background.
Oh, and Pim has made his pit stop. He's made his 2nd pit stop.
The more these two fight, the more Pim will catch up.
And look at Ingo there in 8th place. We haven't talked a lot about Ingo, but he's up in 8th place, and he's also onto the soft tyres now.
And he is, so he's made his final stop, if I'm not mistaken. He should be able to go to the end on what he's got, but he might be one to watch out, possibly in that battle for 5th place, if he can really close up to the back of Pim.
11 seconds. Could be. You never know. He's got to produce some qualifying laps, though. He's got to set fastest lap after fastest lap if he can do that. Matty in 9th place in the Porsche. As you're back again with Kobu. But where's Dance? Dance is... He's sort of still there, but it's not as close as what it was.
Let's have a run down to the field as we're at 15.5 minutes remaining. Alex Rogers currently leads by roughly 9 seconds ahead of Bugatti, who's in second, who's got almost 15 seconds to Chili in third, which is 5.5 seconds to Law in fourth, who's got 4 seconds roughly to Kobu in 5th, who's battling currently with Dance for that 5th position. There we see Pim in 7th, who's trying to close up to that battle for that 5th spot. We have Engel, new driver to the championship, as well as Pim. And we're currently in 8th spot. We got DRE Matty, replacing for Charles TT on Team Apex in 9th. Mermaid in 10th. Stig in 11th. S. Lucas, another new driver to the champs, 12th. Dark Nihilus in 13th. And then we have Thomas TT in 14th.
Close to the back of us, dearest teammate. Just going back to Chile here, one thing to mention, next week we are going to have 2 90-minute races around Spa, which you are going to be racing in, aren't you?
Yeah, I will be. That is a good point. Yeah, this next Sunday we have another endurance race. This is supposed to be an off week for us. However, it won't be an off week for me, that's for sure. And as I mentioned earlier on the broadcast, I have this brand new sim rig I've set up that I'm doing this broadcasting from, so it's going to be quite the trial by fire, because apparently not only will I have those 2 90-minute races in the LMP1 and the GR3 cars, but almost immediately after, roughly an hour afterwards, we'll be jumping over to iRacing to try and possibly do the last stint in the 6 hours around Le Mans. So it's going to be a trial by fire for this rig.
Oh, I didn't even know you did iRacing at all.
That's something a few of us have been starting to do over there in the Discord, so.
Yeah, speaking of Chile, he's going to be my co-commentator while you'll be racing away in that Spa race. Are you in the GR3 cars?
The way it's actually laid out is you do 1 90-minute race in the GR3 or the LMP1, whatever one you want to start in, and then the other 90-minute race, you swap cars.
Oh, okay then. So, what GR3 car are you driving? A Honda, like you won it before?
Nope, I'm moving to the RCZ.
Oh, okay then. Interesting.
Something a little bit different.
God, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, it's the RCZ, something a little different, and I haven't played much since the BOP updates that have gone through, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the RCZ actually got also a BOP update change back on the 22nd, as did the Corvette and such, so I figured it'd be something to do to try out. I did a couple laps around here at Brands Hatch in comparison to the NSX, and it felt a lot more stable than what the NSX did, so I feel like I might be a bit more comfortable in that car that's around Spa.
Yeah, quite interesting to see that the Gatti, his GR3 car, is a Lamborghini. Yeah, very interesting, isn't it?
To be quite interesting, that race, as it looks like, was that lap traffic you were working by? Yes, the
yeah,
Bugatti has lap Dark Nihilus. Alex still leading by 10 seconds now. Chile's still in 3rd, Law still in 4th, not quite able to close the gap. Kobu still in 5th, he was actually gapped a little bit ahead of Dan's, and then Pimps in 7th, Ingo still in 8th, Maddie 9th, Mermaid in 10th. Are these two closing here? Let's have a look at their tires real quick. So there we see Mermaid actually on the softs, so Mermaid could be gaining some solid positions here over Maddie, who is also on the softs, but ahead of them was Ingo is on the softs as well, but it's a lot more worn, so this might be one to watch towards the end of the race here.
It looks like it's possibly the only real battle that's out there, not unless there's a couple of cars that are close together on the Exodus Sterling, so I'll try and see who that is. That might be lap traffic though. Yeah, we established only just the Gatti and Darth. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out on that battle for 8th place, so I certainly will.
Just on board Mermaid now and see if we can actually try and close down to the back of that in a Porsche 911 of DRE Matty. It looked like he was a bit there in the straight, but he lost roughly 3/10 going through Hawthorne's there. So that Corvette, maybe he's struggling a bit here.
It's been a bit of a tough season this for Mermaid, isn't it? I remember speaking to him when he was at Red Bull Ring. He sounded confident. He was really enjoying driving the Chevrolet, but it hasn't been the season that Mermaid wanted to have.
No, it's definitely been struggling, and as we mentioned many times in the broadcast currently, it's just those BOP updates. The first one that came out, the tire physics change, really hurt the Corvette, especially before that round at Laguna Seca. It struggled heavily there. But it's luckily going into this round, they've had a bit of a saving grace in that the car was made a bit lighter, so it kind of helps counteract that, but it's definitely been struggling, especially some Mermaid, who's someone we've seen consistently in the top 5 before, and now he's normally consistently outside of it.
Hopefully he'll be a lot more competitive than come the last 2 rounds of the championship at Spa and at Catalonia, but trying to see what Mermaid's best finish has been this season. Let's have a look as I get my stats up. This will be his 4th race that he's competed in Mobbier, and he's had a 9th place finish, and that was at the A1. and he's had a 13th and a 11th place as Mermaid. So yeah, Mermaid he's sort of struggled in that Chevrolet. Fastest lap though sent to Thomas TT 122.517.
What's happened to Chili? Chili's in 5th.
Oh,
Chili's falling down. Dan's is finding a way by in the last corner here. What has happened to Chili?
Oh, I looked at replay and it was before Dingle at Sheen Corner, so he's had a huge mistake somewhere.
Yeah, he's crossed the line there, so he's made a huge mistake. That promotes Law into 3rd place. Chili has once again cost himself a podium position. Kobu into 4th, and now Dan's into 5th. Chili has thrown away a podium position.
He must have had a massive off somewhere. 1:35.0. That was 12 seconds slower. But I mean, that'll be good news for Nagati to see if he's looking at the leaderboard to see Chili, who was close to him in the championship, is down there in 6th place.
That's disastrous from Chili. I'm sure he's hating. I don't know the correct phrase to say this, but he's not too happy with himself here, especially as he's back behind Dan's and the other cars in front of him have pitted later than him. Chili needed that 3rd spot if he wanted to try and at least compete with Nugatti for the championship at the end of the year, but now he's got his other title contenders in front of him, and he's not going to be the best points haul for him.
Oh, I hope we'd like to get an interview of him after the race and see what actually happened to him, but that is absolutely disaster city for Chili, and I tell you what, Pim is slowly catching up to Chili,
Yeah, it is. There's roughly 8.5 minutes left to go here, and Chili's got to be real careful, or you could end up with a repeat of what happened at Monza, except instead of a pit error, it's a driver error.
Tell you what, Kobu's closing a bit on their Law. I think it was about 5 seconds the last time I checked it between Law and Kobu. It's now half that deficit now.
Well, maybe there was another mistake from Law on that lap we also didn't quite see, because it looks like Nugatti's opened up a gap to almost 20 seconds over Law.
And that's just due to the fact that Alex and Nugatti's done a 1 stop and Law further on back have done 2 stops. Goodness me, that's not like Chili to do something. But I mean, he has done mistakes this season, hasn't he, Chili?
Yes.
This is not like the season 3 Chili that we saw.
No, it's not. Chili this season, it almost feels like his mind hasn't all been in it. And I'm sure, going into the season, I believe he was also finishing up with his uni work, so there was a bit of that going on, so that kind of slowed him in the earlier season. Then, of course, all this old quarantine thing has kind of thrown a wrench in almost everyone's plans, but Chili this season it doesn't seem like he's the most focused on this. In season 3, he was gunning for the championship. He was doing everything he can to compete. And this season, it kind of feels like he's taking a bit more casually. His pit makes a big off there. What does he hold on to? Does he hold on to it? He looks like he
No, he does. He scraped the wall, but he keeps going on, but he's lost a lot of time.
Let's get a replay here. What happened? Go on board with him. He just goes wide at the exit of Sterling. Tries to hold it straight, just scrapes the wall, but gets away with it.
Yeah, just a light little kiss there. Nothing harm anyways, but he has lost a lot of time on to Chili.
Remember, the points between these two, if I'm just going to pull them up just to make sure I'm not mistaken, for Tier A here, there is only 1 point separating Dan's and Chili currently in the championship. And if Chili passes Dan's, it would be his 6th place finish? Or 2nd?
Well, Dan's has had, it'll be his 2nd 6th place finish.
Okay, so it'd be his 2nd 6th place finish, which would be tied for his 2nd worst race, which, like I mentioned earlier in the race, he doesn't need that. He's in that no man's land. He either has to score well or score so poorly that its odds are he won't score worse than that if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive.
The thing is, though, with Chili is the fact that if he stays in 6th place, this won't count as a drop score because he has had an 8th and a 7th.
So everything's on the line here come the championship. There's going to be some more solid points for Nugatti unless Nugatti makes a mistake, which it doesn't look like he will as he works his way by Dark Nihilist yet again, it looks like. So Law is on point for his very first ever podium for the Team Sandy Balls team. And you got Kobu in 4th, who's going to be scoring ahead of Dan's and Chili in this race.
Kobu is catching Law. It's less than 2 seconds now. So look at here at Chile and Dan's. 5 minutes to go. It's anyone's guess, really, because Kobu's catching up to Law, and you've got this battle here for 5th. This could be huge implications to the championship.
It is huge implications, but Chile falling off just ever slightly from the back of Dan's. He can't quite close. And Kobu, 1.3 seconds. It's so big, but unless either one makes a mistake, this battle could still be super close, and that's the story of Brands Hatch, essentially. It's super easy just to dip a single tire offline and into the grass and lose the rear end, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened to Chile.
It must have been, yeah, it would have to be. I'm just surprised that the people that have gone off where you're looking at right now after Sterling's. I would have thought, the corner at Sheen would have caught a lot of people out, but not around Sterling's there. We've seen a lot of people going there making mistakes through there.
Ooh, just looking back at Thomas there, who almost lost the rear end of that car there at the exit of a...
Oh, he's got to be careful here, because there's Darth. He's going to be bad. He's down to last. What's happened to him? Is he...
He had a big moment at the exit of Graham Hill Bend and pulled to the inside because right in front of him was Nugatti, so he's got the blue flag and let him by, but now he's lost position to his teammate. But I don't think that's that big of an issue for Thomas there, as he's currently leading a Tier B points, and they're both teammates, so it's not like they're going to lose any difference in points. So.
Well, this will count as a drop score, but it's just a matter of what Noxie will do in that Group B race, considering he's, 100 plus behind Thomas.
Now Kobu, he's almost within half a second is Kobu.
Yeah, you can see Law weaving left and right, trying to break the draft away from Kobu.
3.5 minutes remaining. That's enough for, I want to say, maybe another 2 laps. How's their fuel looking? Kobu's good to go. Law should be good to go. How's Dan's looking on his? Really, the Chile's flashing already.
I wonder if Chile may be underfueled.
I think he might have underfueled to increase his gap, but this one's going to be pretty close coming into this race. It's going to be one to watch. Kobu now within half a second. 3 minutes left to go, and they're going to be crossing the line. There will be 2 more laps. If I'm not mistaken. Oh, possibly 3 if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. I can't math today.
You're not the only one.
Ooh, so close to the back of Law. Law can almost taste his very first podium position and the champagne that comes with it. But Kobu will not make it easy. They go through Druids, now diving down into Graham Hill Bend, and we know just how powerful that GTR is, especially on the straight line. But Law goes very wide through there, so Kobu might find a way by. He goes to the outside as they head towards Surtees turn forward, but he can't find a way by.
This is probably the only chance where the GTR will ease past the Citroen here, is going through the dip. Here we go, then. Let's see what he can do. Can he pull out a pass going down Hawthorne Hill and then into Hawthorne Bend?
Just see just how much it pulls in that straight line. It's going to come down to who's got the better tire wear and who can keep it on track. Both drivers are going to be pushing to try and make the best times that they can. This is where you're going to see one of these cars possibly lose a rear. It's super easy to go clip a rear to the exit of Sheen. Both drivers keep it on track. They're going to have 1 more lap to battle this out. No, excuse me, 2.
Law's going to be feeling absolutely sweating because he knows that there's a hard charging Kobu at the back. Kobu fresh off a win last week in Interlagos. Law on course for his very first ever podium position here. It's going to be nip and tuck here with 100 seconds to go until the end of the race, and Kobu trying to feint a move.
Super close. Kobu trying to take a slightly different line, carrying more speed, going down into, or excuse me, going up into Druids in turn 2. Law going defensive, trying to make sure Kobu doesn't tend to dive up the inside. Kobu's been many positions like this in the season so far. Close last lap battles. Law holding on for dear life that final spot in the podium, and even look back at that in the back of the shot, you see Chile and Dayan still battling for that 5th spot as well.
And Chile's closing. Chile's all over the back of that Mercedes going into Surtees for the penultimate time. But yet, 1 minute to go. They will get another lap in.
So here's Chile. He's trying to look at the outside of Dan's. Dan's goes defensive to the inside. Chile's trying to look around the outside, trying to stick his nose just there, but he can't.
Oh!
Falls back in line. Law still in 3rd. They will have 1 more lap. Who will hold on? Oh, I see there's a spin ahead. I'm not sure who it is.
It might be not Darth. It might be Darth.
That's this.
Oh, it might be Thomas. It's Thomas. It's Thomas.
So Thomas spun there. So there's going to be some lap traffic here. This could throw a wrench into everyone's plans.
Oh, now this could be a huge problem here for Thomas. Will he slow down the law to let Kobu by? Oh, now this is a massive moment
Pulls
here.
the inside law, gets the slipstream. So
Okay,
Thomas getting right out of the way.
Yeah, that's good stuff there, Thomas. Well played.
I see there's even more battles back here. I want to see if I can get it. Yeah, there you go. There's the battle for 8th place between Mermaid, Ingo, and Maddie. So Mermaid up into 8th place.
This will be their last lap. This will be their last lap.
So that's it. That's their race done. Checkered flag is out. Mermaid comes home in 8th place. Ingo in 9th. Back to the battle for 3rd, though. Law still ahead of Kobu. And we see Dan's and Chile still battling for 5th place as well. It's a repeat of Interlagos for Dan's as he tries to hold on to 5th place ahead of one of his championship rivals here.
Yeah, these two 2nd and 3rd in the championship, and look at this, all over the back is Chile. Oh!
Close here. You see Law defensive. Kobu trying to go around the outside, being a repeat of what he did earlier on in the race. He can't get the undercut. Law parks his car right in the middle of the track, and he holds on.
Alex just came across the line. Sorry to interrupt you there. Alex Hook comes across the line. He will win that race. That's his 10th
Thomas
win.
goes wide again. Very wide there, so we see Thomas go back off in the background. There's Law still trying to hold on a few more corners, and he can hold on. Just a few more corners.
Right, he's right there all over the back.
They're going to be side by side coming up here. Kobu's trying to go around the outside. They touch. Law still holds the inside. Law still holds 3rd. Kobu in 4th. The Law will hold on and take his very first podium position. Flashes the lights, and he's happy. Back behind, Dan's will hold on to 5th place ahead of Chile. Chile has a look, and he will hold on.
Goodness me, that was some entertaining stuff there. We have a few minutes to go. Pimmy will come across the line, 7th place, and that's everyone across the line now.
There you have it. Alex Rogers taking a commanding win ahead of Nugatti, who's in 2nd. But that battle for 3rd place, with Law taking his maiden podium and ARC holding off a hard-charging Kobu for a few laps there. That was a great one to watch.
And I tell you what, Law will be absolutely chuffed and over the moon about that. I think he came into this, I think he was 6th in the points. I'm looking here. Yeah, he was only 105 points back off of the leader Nugatti, and considering that Dan's, Kobu, Chile all finished behind him, and Stig as well. So Law could pick up some good amount of points here.
So there you have it. There you see on the screen, Alex Rogers with the win. A total time of 1 hour and 36 seconds. Nugatti in 2nd. Law in 3rd. Kobu in 4th. Dan's will hold on to 5th spot ahead of Chile, who's in 6th. Pim, in his very first GR3 race, will come home in 7th. Mermaid in 8th. Ingelfer in 9th. Maddie in 10th. As Lucas will come home in 11th, especially a good recovery from him, especially considering his first lap incident. Stig back in 12th. Darth Nihilus 13th. And then Thomas TT in 14th.
Now, there you go then. So Alex Rogers, it's his 10th win. I was saying as well that he's had 11 pole positions around 11 different tracks. He's had 10 wins around 10 different tracks. So solid effort there from Alex. Nugatti, if only he didn't make that mistake on the exit of Sterling's there, what could have been a battle for the win between the pair of them. But anyway, well done there to Law, picking up his first ever podium. And like I says before, picking up some vital points. And he could maybe assert himself into this championship now.
That he could. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you see on screen, don't go anywhere. There's more things for us to have here. As we're going to have some post-race driver interviews. So, don't go anywhere. We're going to try and get as many as we can. So, give us a few moments. We're going to try and gather as many people as we can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now back. We have a couple drivers here lined up to take in a good question for interviews here. So let's move on to our actual race. No, he seems to be muted right now. So let's move on to our man who came home in second spot, Alex Ark Nugatti. Excuse me. How was that race out there for you today?
Uh, to be honest, kind of disappointed because, yeah, in practice I hadn't been keeping up with Alex at all. But when I saw I was keeping up, I sadly got a little bit too excited and yeah, I spun it on the grass there. So, but yeah, what could have been, but still happy with a second place.
Yeah, it was a very strong race from you, and in the grand scheme of things, you finished ahead of all of your title contenders and scored some solid points out there.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I saw that Dance was fifth and Chile sixth. So yeah, that's pretty solid going into Spa now. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, we'll see how much Alex catches me now. But yeah, it'll be exciting these last two races.
One thing I do want to ask is we did just catch the tail end of the spin there at the end of your first stint. Well, you want to explain to us what happened because we didn't quite catch it on stream.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just carried way too much speed into the corner there. Yeah, I think I got all the four tires on the grass. Yeah, uh, by then I just knew I was gonna spin because there was no catching that. So yeah, but thankfully it happened on lap 21, so I could, and was pretty close to the pits, so I could just limp in with a little bit of damage. So yeah, just try to not lose as much time.
All right. Well, you did also mention that we have the next round at Spa coming up, and with Kobu finishing ahead of Dan's and ahead of Chile after Chile had a spin in the closing stages of the races, do you feel that perhaps maybe your next closest title contender could end up actually being Kobu in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, maybe. But now that Alex is a individual, I think he can also take the championship.
No, he can. He
So yeah,
cannot.
it'll be.
He is still in
He
the
can.
reserve. He
Okay.
cannot. No.
Okay. But yeah, definitely Kobu. He'll be strong these two last races. So, but yeah, gonna be close. But hopefully, I'm gonna, yeah, have last two races have a good two races. So yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck on the rest of the championship.
Thank you. No problem.
All right. Let's move on to our race winner for today, Alex Rogers. How are you out there?
Hey, Lat. You right?
I'm doing pretty good myself. How about you after taking another race win here?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Sweaty again, though. But yeah, good. Thank you. Very good.
Now, one interesting stat that Savoy told me as if we were finished in qualifying is that you have 11 pole positions, but each of those pole positions are on 11 different tracks.
Really? I've got no idea. Genuinely. I don't know. Savoy came up with this at Bathurst, didn't he? I don't know, man. I'm going to have to look at the sheet he's got because I really don't know. But no, that's cool. I mean, we haven't done brands, have we? I don't think it appeared. Did it appear in season 1 before I
In
arrived?
season 1, yes, before you were there.
Yeah, so we haven't done it before, So, I mean, yeah, it's cool to get pole here. I was happy with that one, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, again, strong result from you taking another win. You're currently leading the reserves championship by quite a large margin. Do you feel like you're going to try maybe perhaps carry on the performance that you've had after you've come back into this championship, perhaps in season 5, if you feel like joining back full time for that?
Well, there's an overall table to look at, that, isn't there? I know we've had this discussion, but I'm sure Nuggy's aware that you got to beat everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though it's not the big one, yeah, it'd be nice to be in the mix for the overall still. So there's that to focus on first before we do anything else. I think any thinking ahead for season 5 or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, the next round is at Spa. How do you feel comfortable at Spa in your Supra?
I don't know, really. I've never really driven it around there, to be honest. I drove it a couple of times, but nothing like this competitive. So we'll see. I had a great race in the Beetle there last year. So yeah, let's give it a go, see what happens, I guess. I think it'll be strong. It's a good car, man. So yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations today, and good luck on the next race at Spa.
Yeah, cheers, that. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go on to the man who scored his very first podium finish here in Arctic, Law 226. How are you doing?
Hello. Oh, yes.
You had quite an exciting race there towards the end there. Want to give us your point of view on things?
Oh my God. Yeah. Never makes it easy, does he? Yeah. I knew I could keep Kobe behind. I just needed to place the wide boy in places where I knew the GTR couldn't get past. But like, I had no idea that the GTR was going to be that fast. He caught me. Like we sort of battled, I think, before the second stops. So he was quite close behind me before the second stop. So I kind of got an idea of where he was fast and where to place my car before that. And it was pretty vital to keep him behind. And then I pitted and I gained about 5 seconds on him just from fuel saving. And that just did the job. Just.
All right, well, with this third place finish, you finished ahead of all the other contenders in front of you, other than Nugatti, who's currently leading the championship. And going into this race, I believe you're only 90 points behind, sitting fifth overall. Do you feel in the next 2 rounds of Spa and Catalunya, you could perhaps maybe be fighting for a podium spot come the end of the championship?
Like, let's see. Hope so. It would be quite a good. I need to build on this and just need to get consistently good results. So yeah, let's see what happens. I have no idea what the Citroen's like on Spa and Catalunya, but they're tracks I'm familiar with. So let's hope I'm a little bit better there. But yeah, I'm just enjoying this one. I also have to say that.
Well, another thing I do want to ask you is, as I mentioned, you had a pretty close race there at the end there with Kobu, and you were doing everything you can to make sure you couldn't try and find a way by. Do you feel you're going to be able to try and emulate that at Spa, knowing that Spa is usually, or at least has that one sector, the Les Combes Straight, I believe it's what it's called, where
Yeah.
it's that the GTR is going to be super powerful. How do you feel you're going to fare there in comparison to Kobu now that you've starting to close the gap to the guys in front of you?
Sorry, I didn't know what happened to my phone there. I've no idea. I don't know with the recent BOP update, the GTR slightly got less speed now, so that definitely kind of worked in the GTR's favor of brands. But then with the next 2 races, it will definitely give it a less top end anyway. So. Well, let's just see. I mean, Kobu's a good driver. I'll be happy to battle him for whatever spot that we go in. I mean, Alex and Nugatti are just going to run off at the front. So, yeah, let's see.
All right. Well, good luck on the rest of your championship hopes here, and we hope to see you filing at the front of the field and the rest of it.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
All right. Let's move on to the man who almost took the podium position from Law 226 there. Kobu, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, lad. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good myself, and I'm actually doing really good now watching you guys have such a close race like that. Almost 2 races in a row. You've come down to the line between you and another driver.
Oh yeah, I think I'm finding a little bit more of a consistency with both my pace as well as just driving the GTR in general. The BOP update definitely helped here at Brands too. I didn't need to scrub off as much speed since I'm not shooting out like a rocket, and losing that 13 kilograms kind of helped the turn in and helped the tire wear as well. So it was a good race, and I'm glad I put up a show.
Yeah, that's one thing I do want to ask you. Over the course of this season, we've seen a couple changes to the GTR from the very start of it. There was, I believe, after Monza, where we had the tire physics change, and then now we have a BOP change. How has the GTR felt to you in your hands over the course of this season?
With the tire change, the physics in general has sort of favored the GTR. It gave it a little bit more cornering, but because it was still so fast in the straights, it still had to have a really large brake zone, so it didn't really get the chance to capitalize on the physics update. With losing the power, it definitely helped out with cornering a lot better, because now we're tightening up our braking zone. We can stay closer to our opponents, and then we can take that gap because we're so close, and then get the slipstream and then pull it out on a straight. So yeah, the car feels a lot better in my opinion. I'm glad that it dropped those 2%. Actually, it's helping out a lot.
All right. Well, as I mentioned in other interviews, you once again scored ahead of Dan's and Chile, who are also fighting for some of the final spots on the TRA Championship on the podium. And with the next round at Spa and even at Catalunya, how confident are you feeling that you might be able to possibly grab, if not the championship, if Nugatti happens to have a bad race, but a good podium finishing spot?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do with Spa what I did with Interlagos. I put in roughly about 10 to 15 hours of practice for Interlagos. I'm going to need to practice a lot. It's probably my weakest track, and I know the GTR should be good there, but I'm going to need practice to do good for Spa. And then for Catalunya, I really like the way that track flows. I know some people kind of hate it, but yeah, I really enjoy Catalunya, so I'm going to be looking out to place well there as well.
All right, well, I'll conclude our interview, but good luck on the rest of your championship hopes there. We hope to see you filing for the top and make the last race pretty interesting.
Yep, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our driver interviews for today. Once again, want to thank you all for joining us, and we want to remind you to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you like the content you see. We can bring more content to you. As we just mentioned earlier on the broadcast, this up-and-coming Sunday is a 3-hour endurance race. It's 2 90-minute endurance races that I myself will be competing in. It'll be brought to you by Savoy and the one Chile on commentary. So if you want to catch that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a good follow over on our Twitter at @arc_PS4 if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on, updates on points finishes, and see some cool pictures from the races. So always be sure to click on that and give us a good old follow. As I already mentioned, subscribing. If you ever feel interested in joining any of the races that you see, we've seen guys like Ingold and Pim hop back into the championship. You can easily hop back into a championship too. There's a link down in the description down below to join our Discord, where anyone and everyone can join. All we ask is that once you join, you say yes to all of our rules and everything that we have, and we put you through your rookie test. And once you're through your rookie test, you can join any race series that we have. So if you ever are all interested, feel free to hit that join button down below. And of course, if you want to support anything that we do here, feel free to check out our merch store at teespring.com/stores/adrenaline-racing-community. Again, as you see on screen, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, and I'm sure as we grow and expand, we'll even add more and more to our merch store. So if you're ever at all interested and want to support everything you do, all the proceeds go towards giving our podium finishers at the end of each championship a good trophy to take home with them as a good memory. And if we ever grow big enough prize pools, it will definitely be something in the future for us. So again, if you ever want to support, feel free to check it out and purchase some things. I can personally speak to the quality of the clothes. But ladies and gentlemen, that will bring the broadcast to an end. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us here and watching this race with us. It means a lot to us. Once again, my name is Lateral G. I was joined in the commentary booth by my Savoy. You can get both of us in the Discord below. So if you ever want to be interested and join, feel free to do that. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our broadcast. And as I already mentioned, next next Sunday, is the 3-hour Spa endurance race that I myself will be competing in. So if you're at all interested, feel free to show up for that. But that will conclude our broadcast for today. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for showing up and joining us. My name has been Lateral G. And don't forget to keep racing.